Okay. Is this working? Okay, there we go. Hey guys, so if you've already been following, pretty sure, then you'll know that this is the season 1 finale. So hi, this is me. I'm actually going to take my glasses off so you can see my face. This is me and whoa, shit. This is the season 1 finale. We're going to be talking about acne, skincare, self-love, and I have 3 amazing guests that are going to be coming on. So here we go. Let's go, guys. I'm going to start with oh, I'm so sorry about this. I'm going to start with Gurpriya. So she's going to be our cosmetology expert. Say hi, Gurpriya.
Hi there.
Welcome to the finale. So tell us a little bit about yourself and I'll introduce the other 2 guests.
Yeah, so I'm Gurpriya from Cosmetology Hub, also known as the Leicestershire Facialist. So I've been in cosmetology and facials for about 10 to 15 years now. I actually started because I suffered with acne myself. So really excited to do this podcast with you all today. And I now work as a private facialist and in a dermatology clinic as well.
So excited to have you on. Our next guest is Diane. So say hi, Diane.
Hey, everyone.
So welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll introduce the last but not least very special guest.
Yeah, so I have suffered with acne for a long, long time. I remember being called mean things on the bus, but I know pretty much nothing. So I'll be the voice of the girl who gets acne but doesn't really know what to do or how to manage it. So
that's perfect.
Really looking forward to this.
That's perfect. We have all different types of people. And last but not least, you may know her as the Blemish Queen on Instagram, Nicole Herbig. Welcome, Nicole.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
I'm so excited to have you. So tell us a little bit about yourself before we dive into the topic of the day.
Sure. So I'm Nicole. I've struggled with acne since I was a teenager, but about 3 years ago, at the age of 20, I started to get really severe hormonal cystic acne. And in February of this year, I decided to start taking Accutane, and I've been documenting my Accutane journey on Instagram ever since.
Amazing. Okay, so we've all suffered with acne. We've all tried different remedies. I'm going to dive deep in here. So what has been the worst experience you've had with acne? Like the time where you were like, holy shit, why is it this bad? And what did you feel?
I mean, I can go first. My worst experience with acne was in February of this year. I had gone on a cruise for the first time, and it was like the perfect storm of everything that could go wrong for my skin went wrong for my skin. I wasn't eating right. I wasn't wearing enough sunscreen. I was stressed. I drank too much alcohol, had too much sugar, and I broke out like I'd never broken out before, to the point where I was getting swollen cysts along my temples. I was having to go to the emergency room to get antibiotics because my eyes were swelling. It was the worst experience I've ever had with acne in my entire life, which is what led me to the decision to go on Accutane, because my skin was so irritated, so inflamed, so swollen, and it was starting to cause really obvious health issues. So it was awful.
That's crazy. As an expert, Gurpriya, do you have any input on this? Like, was it the things that she was eating, or is it, just something hormonal? Like, what has been your experience with seeing people that have had that type of acne? Because I can imagine all types of people go and visit you, right?
Yeah, I mean, acne is something I deal with kind of day in, day out. So many people suffer with it. We don't realize that the stats are something like 90% of the population will suffer with acne at some point in their life, whether it's kind of a milder form or something needing something like Accutane or Roaccutane. So I would say it's a combination of things. So it's things like stress levels, that's one of the biggest factors, because that can affect our hormones. So if we're going through something, we need to try and manage our stress levels a little bit. Also, diet will play a part, although it's kind of contradictory in the skincare world, because some dermatologists will say it's not about diet, and some will say it is. So I think it's just really personal to you. So I always say keep a food diary. That will help, just so you know if you're breaking out after things like, dairy, or if it's a certain kind of, if it's chocolate, whatever it is for yourself, spicy foods. If there's something that increases your inflammation response, it's best to keep a diary, and then you know where you're at with that. So yeah, usually it's a combination of things. And I feel that when we start exploring with skincare, we buy loads of things from the drugstore. And there may be that there's a little bit of underlying acne, and we make that worse. So normally I would say it's a combination of what we eat, stress levels, hormones, what we put on our skin, what we put in our body. It really is a lifestyle. So we have to look at it in that way, I would say.
Okay, that definitely makes sense. Has anyone been able to tell you what actually caused it, Nicole, or was it just kind of like a multiple factor situation, or?
Sure. I mean, for me, I've never really had anybody specifically tell me what triggered my acne. I took it onto myself to take an acne course from this group called Clear Stem Skincare, where they go through all of the main triggers of acne, and like how exactly, like we just talked about, how to take a holistic approach to taking care of your skin and your body. So through that course is when I really discovered that all of those things, like the sun and not wearing sunscreen, and the diet, for me, it's dairy and eggs, I've learned, made me break out. Skincare has been a big thing, where I was going to the drugstore and buying things and thinking it was going to help. But when you read the ingredients and you read the fine print, you learn, oh my gosh, these things are making me break out even more. So it wasn't until I took that course, I learned for myself on my own what was making me break out.
Okay, that's amazing. I've never heard of that course. You'll have to give me the details later, and then I'll post them so anyone who's watching or who's curious can actually go through that course as well. So what about you, Diane? What has been your experience with acne? You mentioned that, people would stare at you at the bus. Like, what has been that like?
Yeah, I mean, like, even mean things like crater face or stuff like that. I mean, it's just really horrible, like the things people can call you because of acne, especially when middle school is not hard enough. And so yeah, in I think middle school, I started taking Proactive, which I definitely know is kind of controversial, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on that. It certainly worked at the time, and also starting to take birth control. And then, it kind of evened out. I definitely get at least a pimple a week. And now with wearing the mask, I'm getting so much acne around my mouth. Like my chin, it hurts. It's like crazy. It's just every day I wake up with a new one. So yeah, lately but I have actually started a vegan diet just in the last week. So I'm really excited to hear your guys' thoughts on that, and how that could help affect my skincare.
For sure. And Gurpriya, I know before we decided to do this episode and everything, you were telling me that as an expert, it's sometimes really awkward to feel like, oh my God, I should have perfect skin, but I don't actually have perfect skin. So like, how has that been for you? Because it's true, it's same with doctors. Like if you want to lose weight, if you go to a dietitian and you're like, okay, but like, why would I listen to you if you are not taking your health serious? So how has that affected you, for example?
Well, I used to feel really awkward about it when people would come to me with their acne, and I would have acne because of wearing a mask, because even prior to COVID, when we're doing treatments, we do have to wear masks with certain treatments. And so I would have kind of like mask acne, hormonal acne, that kind of thing. And I was a picker. So I'm sure you guys have done it yourselves, and it's so tempting to do, but I was a picker. So it was that kind of, they would look at me and I could tell that they were looking at me, and it was predominantly sort of the jawline area. And as you're talking, people are concentrating on that mouth area. So I feel like I used to use coping mechanisms like wear a bright lipstick, or try and do sort of like a pretty eye makeup, just to kind of, so they wasn't looking at that area, but I did feel self-conscious. And I actually spoke to my manager. I was working at a clinic at the time, and I spoke to her and I just said, I feel like I can't do acne consultations at the moment with how I feel about my skin. And she actually gave me a tip and said, why not share your experience with your clients so they know that there is no cure to acne to date. We can only improve it, manage it, maintain it, make it so much better, but there's no cure. So it was kind of a realistic approach then for me to think, okay, if I can explain that to clients, that even myself as somebody who has everything available to me, medical grade products, skincare, things like dermatologists prescribing things like Accutane, I have all of that available, but yet still I do have some breakouts. So it was kind of a realistic approach for me, but I did feel at the start it was difficult. And then the more I spoke about it, it got better and better. And what really helped is I started to do case studies on myself and family and friends who had acne. So I would take photos and I would keep like a little diary and show my clients that so they can see this is my skin, it's real life. And it was just great for them to actually see that and feel like actually it's a journey and it is going to get better. I can manage it, and there's so many different approaches out there. So as soon as I got comfortable in my own skin and showing my clients my skin without makeup, then my journey kind of got better and better from there, really.
Yeah. Oh my God, you actually said so many interesting things. I have so many questions to ask. Let's go part by part. Talking about estheticians and beauty routines and all of that. Diane and Nicole, do you guys regularly visit estheticians? Like, is that something that you've just incorporated? Have you always done that with your acne routine? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah,
Oh, Diane, you go.
No, you're good. I honestly have not. I've only gotten one facial in like the last year. And, she was definitely like, you need to come more. And she was showing me all the products and stuff. So I really I don't know much at all. And I kind of just guessed my way through it. Okay.
What about you, Nicole?
I have never been to get a facial or seen an esthetician. I've always wanted to. I was really on the fence about doing it, but I've just never had the chance to do it. And now with being on Accutane and with the pandemic going on, I don't know. I've just never been. I've always wanted to. I just haven't done it.
Okay, that's really interesting. Is it something that stopped you? Is it kind of like, oh my God, what are they going to think about my skin? Are they going to think that I don't take care of it? Like what?
For me, I think it's more like being reluctant to trust other people to know what's okay for me. Like being on the fence about, I know that they're trained in this, but what if the products make my skin worse? Because I have heard a lot of positive stories about facial treatments and estheticians, but I've also heard negative stories. So, of course, you want to make your own judgment and, you want to do your research. But I've always just been kind of on the fence, but I've really always wanted to go.
What about you, Diane?
Yeah, same here. I was just thinking the same thing. It's really trust. How do I know that it's not going to make my skin worse? Or, I think that's the main thing. It's not really even a money thing or, and that's part of it. But I think it's really just, I don't understand my skin and I've had it for 27 years. So I just have to, I can't trust them right away. Yeah.
Okay. And Gurpriya, have you had people come to you and say those exact things? Like, how do you deal, with clients that come in and they're like, oh, but how are you going to know what's happening with me? Like, how do you deal with that?
I assess them individually and I kind of just take each situation for what it is. And I try to talk to them about what worries them. So I'm quite kind of upfront about what is it that's worrying you. So as Diane, Nicole, you've just said that actually the worry is that my skin might get worse during this facial. I always just kind of give them an honest opinion that it is a possibility that when we put new ingredients on the skin, your skin can get worse before better. That's always something that is a possibility. And that is actually the number one concern for people when they have facials. but most times they are so pleased afterwards, so happy they came for their facial, and the skin feels amazing. And what I do as part of my service, and all my clients, they can vouch for this, I will always check in with them, because I feel that if I was them, it's nerve-wracking coming in to show somebody who you've never met your skin. They're going to be touching your skin, trying new things. So I try and be as well informed as possible. I also send everyone pre-care as well. So if I prepare them, there's less chance of them having that kind of purging of breakouts. So I try and prepare them really well. And I also rejiggle their skincare routine before they have their facials, so that I know that even if they do have a few breakouts, a little bit of dryness, a little bit of irritation, they have all the right tools at home just to cope with all of those things. So yeah, I do feel people come with concerns, and it's my job to really ease them, be honest with them, and give them a little bit of homework on how they can take care of their skin, and just guide them through their whole journey. So often I'll message them that night. If it's a morning facial, I'll message them a couple days later, a week later, and normally after about a week, everything's settled nicely and they're more than happy with everything.
Okay, I love that. Next controversial topic. So we were talking about pills. So I guess Nicole, Diane, you've both taken pills for acne. I also did that when I was younger. Can't remember the name. It's like Tetra something. Have you taken anything, Gurpriya?
I have. So I started suffering with acne when I was 15, and when I went to the GP, it was just the usual clean your skin with a cleanser and put on some benzoyl peroxide. So it was kind of just running through courses of topicals. And then the more kind of the older I got, my acne actually got worse. And you hear all these things when people say you'll grow out of it, but I don't think that's the case. Yes, your skin type might change, but we have the hormones, unfortunately, as women, and our hormones change so often, every single day. In fact, our hormones are changing. So I found mine was actually getting worse. So I, like you, Sabrina, I was on tetracycline, limacycline, all of those things. And I then got into more aesthetics. So that's when I started my beauty course. And I had the biggest flare up, because I remember I was doing facials at the time, and that was the module. So somebody was doing my facials on a weekly basis because we had to practice, and they had overstimulated my skin so much with face scrubs, masks, steam, like all the things I would say don't do them if you've got acne. That was what was happening to me, and there was no way out of it. I had to pass these modules. So I had a really big flare up, and luckily I then got it under control with really good skincare. And then I had a big flare up because I came off some medication. It was actually a few years just before I got married, which was the worst. And I actually went on Roaccutane myself actually as well. So isotretinoin, Roaccutane, Accutane. It's something that helps to kind of shrink the sebaceous gland. It makes your skin really super dry, and it's so good for acne. If it's prescribed by a dermatologist, a controlled dose for your weight, for your particular type of acne, it's a fantastic medication to go on. Not everybody needs it, but for my acne being cystic, I needed it. So I guess that's the four of us that's been on the Accutane.
How was it for you?
Dry lips, definitely dry hands, but I think I was prepared for it because I know so much about it already. So I made sure that I changed my diet. I drank more water. Instead of me doing kind of lots of HIIT training at the gym, I started doing more like yoga, meditation, things that were kinder to my bones, because I don't know about you guys, I was really achy just going up and down the stairs. I remember feeling really achy. And initially, the biggest concern was, when I spoke to a dermatologist, is that depression is something that people feel comes with Roaccutane. And his take on it was that there's no clinical studies that show that depression is a factor of Roaccutane, but I felt it, which was strange. And he said it could be because you're so upset about your skin that you're depressed because of your skin, which sort of made sense to me. So that would be my biggest advice. If you've been prescribed Roaccutane, you're about to start a course, change your lifestyle to match some of the things that you read might happen. So be healthy, start drinking more water, take your supplements, make sure you are relaxing and you're doing things just to be kind to yourself, because it is a difficult time being on Roaccutane.
Okay, that's really good tip. I love that. What about you, Nicole? Because I know you've been documenting every single step of it. I am really curious to know why you decided to start to document it, and how have these symptoms been for you and how you've been dealing with it.
Sure. So I decided to start my Accutane documentation because before I started Accutane, I did a lot of research. You know, I wanted to be really well informed about what to expect because that's the sort of person that I am. I like to have as much control over a situation as possible. So I did a lot of research and I came across a lot of Instagram accounts who were documenting their progress. And I thought it was so helpful to read what their symptoms were and what their experiences were. Even if, you know, I wasn't necessarily going to have the same exact experience as them, it was helpful to know that I wasn't going to be alone, and some of the things that I could possibly come across in my experiences. And I decided that I wanted to be that person for somebody else. So I decided to start documenting so that way people could use me as a point of reference and as an example of some of the things that they might experience when taking Accutane. And it's been a wild ride. I'm so glad that I decided to start documenting my journey because I've connected with so many amazing people like you guys now. And regarding the symptoms, I've experienced a lot. I've experienced quite a few, but most of them were within the first 2 or 3 months of treatment. Right now, I'm a couple days into month 5. I'm finishing up next month, so only about a month and a half left. But I experienced, you know, the dry lips, the dry skin, joint pain, increased hair shedding, dry eyes, rashes. The list goes on, and I make sure to detail all of that in every single weekly update I give about all the symptoms I've had and any new symptoms I've experienced. It's interesting because I had most of my symptoms in the beginning, but there are a few newer ones that have shown up as the drug has accumulated more in my system, like especially the rashes and sun sensitivity got more intense as time went on. But it's really been quite the journey. I mean, I'm very happy with my results, but I think a really big thing about taking Accutane is recognizing that it's not a cure for acne. You know, there is no cure for acne, but I feel like Accutane is often advertised like that. It's not meant for everybody. You know, it's really should only be used in severe cases because it is a serious medication with, you know, side effects like depression or increased brain pressure or issues with your cholesterol. Like there's some scary stuff that could happen as with any medication, and you want to be careful. So I think that the most important thing that I've learned is identifying the root cause of your own type of acne, which is where that course for me came very helpful, because if you find the root cause of your acne while you're on Accutane, once you get off, it's less likely to come back. Because you'll be better able to manage it more appropriately when it arises because you'll know what's causing it. If you get off Accutane and you haven't figured out the root cause, you know, it probably will eventually come back because, you know, the drug will, you know, wear out of your system or whatever the process is, and you're going to keep engaging in those triggers, whether it be really bad pore clogging products or dairy or whatever it is that makes you break out. So I think like the number one thing I would say has been the most helpful has been finding the root cause, because my skin has cleared up so beautifully. Even my dermatologist is very proud of my progress and has a lot of faith that after another 6 months after I'm off the medication, everything will be healed because of how well I'm taking care of my skin and the changes I've made to my lifestyle as well. So that's my experience.
I love that approach. What about you, Diane? How long did you take it for? Did you have any symptoms? Why did you decide to actually take it?
So yeah, I actually only used Proactive and birth control, but you know, birth control definitely helped to not have as many outbreaks. And then, you know, I stopped taking that like a year ago, so I think I've been getting a lot more. And like the week before my period is horrible. I mean, it's everywhere. So I just guess. I'm like, I guess I'll wash my face every morning, and I guess I'll use toner the next day, and then an exfoliant. So I totally have no idea how to manage my skincare routine.
Okay, that's perfectly valid. I'm hoping Gurpriya might be able to give us some tips. But before that, so I know you were mentioning about maskne. You've had it before for a while because, you know, you use masks every day for the treatments and everything. And us, well, obviously now with COVID, we have to start wearing masks. And I've definitely seen for myself a really big difference. Like I have it here, I have it on my chin. It's horrible. What are your number one tips, Gurpriya, to avoid or to help with maskne?
There's so many tips, but if I could tell you kind of just a couple of tips that you can do every day to really help, it would be that obviously, you know that you should be kind of cleaning the masks, washing them if they're reusable ones, only using the disposable ones, and then obviously disposing of them and using a new one. But when you get home and just free your skin from the mask, just make sure that you take everything off. So if you were wearing kind of a little bit of makeup underneath, try keep it very, very light, try keep it mineral if possible, a breathable makeup as well. And just take everything off the skin, double cleanse with something really gentle, and get some ice. I know this might sound a little bit strange, but I always get my clients to do it. Just get an ice cube and just rest it on the area. It really helps. So acne is an inflammatory skin disease. So if we can take down some of that inflammation response, then you're kind of halfway there, you know, with that particular pimple. So if you're having a few that are just painful, uncomfortable, and obviously around there on that kind of bone area, it can be uncomfortable, just ice it, just get a little bit of ice, keep it on the area and just keep moving it around and then moisturize the area. That's something that's really been helping people. Or get something like a muslin cloth and a clean muslin cloth, wring it out, cold water, and rest it all over the area. And that helps. So to really just cool and calm everything down for you. So that's one of the tips. But yeah, I've got many. I'll keep sharing them throughout.
Perfect. That sounds amazing. Okay, now I want to go a bit into how you guys have felt with acne and how you kind of have gotten over those horrible feelings or feeling like you're not pretty or whatever it is. What have you been doing to avoid that? What have you been doing to get over it? Or like, what has been your experience with that? And we can go clockwise. So let's start with you, Gurpriya.
This is such a kind of, this is something I thought about, like, what would I say if you asked me this question? And I thought there's so much that has happened, like with my acne, that some of it has been so upsetting actually to talk about. But some of the things I would say, I was trying, before this podcast, I was trying to sort of think back to my journey with acne, because this is for me the best that it's been. But prior to this, I remember things like having a really big breakout, so angry, where even I didn't want to touch my own skin because I just felt so upset by it that I wouldn't want to sort of look in the mirror, take my makeup off at the end of the night. And then when I met my boyfriend, who's my husband now, he was okay with it, which made me feel really strange, but I felt as though covering it, he wouldn't see it, but all the bumps were still there. All the lumps and bumps were there. And I remember little things like when we'd kind of go places and we were staying over and he had to see me without makeup when we went swimming and things like that. I would kind of just stay in the bathroom and honestly just cry. I would just sit in there and cry. And I just remember thinking, if I could get out of going out, I would cancel plans all of the time because of my skin. But I remember this one time we were on holiday and it had become really inflamed and I was in the bathroom for so long, and I used to keep my foundation in the bathroom so that he wouldn't see my skin without makeup. And on this particular occasion, I left my foundation in the room. So I had to come out. He was standing outside. He could hear me crying. So I came out and I just kind of had an open conversation with him and just told him everything I was feeling about it. And he was actually so supportive. So that's my one advice to everyone, that don't suffer alone. So many of us are going through exactly what you are, the same kind of, similar symptoms, similar thoughts, feelings, and we're all in it together. Like I was saying, 90% of the population will suffer at any one time. And when I was suffering, I remember having thoughts like, I wish I could just literally peel a layer of my skin off and take it all away. And you know, those kind of thoughts, they're really not nice to sort of sit with, you know, to think about those things. But I would say talk about it, be honest, be open, and keep a skin journey. Like what you've done, Nicole, is amazing, because when you're having a bad day with your skin, you can look back on it, and I do the same. In fact, you can look back on it and just think, actually, I had a bad day last week, I got over it, so I'll get over this one as well. So it's really important to keep a little bit of a journal, a bit of a diary, and see what works for you. And I think that's an amazing approach.
I love that tip. Okay, you're up, Diane. What has helped you feel better about it? You know, has changed your life? What attitudes have you taken? Like, what has been your experience?
Yeah, well, being single really helps because I think the only time with this, because I think the only time I actually like get really self-conscious is if I have a date, or you know, if I'm dating someone. You know, if I'm just hanging out with friends or family, it definitely, like growing up, it used to bother me a lot, even around like anyone. And I would cancel plans as well. But like, really, it's just with boyfriends. And I don't think I've ever thought to actually open up to them about it, like you shared. And I think that that's really helpful advice, because I'm sure that they would be like, I'm still here, right? Like they probably have never once thought about it. So, you know, like the whole suffering and silence, I think that that's really helpful advice. So yeah, I think, you know, and also just a lot of self-love and self-care tips that I've picked up over the years have helped me to, you know, just one day at a time, increase my confidence in other areas so that I don't focus on it as much. But particularly like any acne around the mouth, I will not go on a date if I have acne around the mouth. I'm just so paranoid about it. And now with the masks, it's just like made it worse. So continuing my singleness, but it's just, you know, I think you just have to keep going one day at a time, loving yourself more and more, and it stops being on your mind all the time.
Yeah, I definitely feel you on that, because I have actually canceled dates before because I got like a huge witch sit or something. And then I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm going to go meet a guy like this. Like, that's not even a possibility. You couldn't even tell, but I just felt so crappy about it. I was like, there's no way I'm meeting my possible future husband like this. Like, no.
Yeah.
What about you, Nicole? Because I know, you know, you've been documenting. Congratulations, you're engaged and everything. How has that whole journey been for you? With, you know, loving yourself, especially since not having acne before, going through it now with your fiance, like how has that whole thing?
Sure. And I do want to apologize if my camera keeps cutting in and out. I don't know where you all are located, but I'm in New Jersey, and the tropical storm like knocked out power here for like a couple days. So my connection's not the best. I'm trying. But when it comes to this journey that I've been on, it's been quite the ride. You know, my fiance knew me before I had acne, and then knew me while I was getting acne. And when it was at its most severe, he was there with me as I was crying hysterically on the cruise ship in the room, super upset about how I looked. So he thankfully has seen it throughout the entire process, and it was never something that I hid from him. It was more like I hid how I felt about it up until February of this year. I didn't really let him in and let him know how detrimental it had been for my mental health, and how it was feeding into my anxiety and giving me depression and making me really lack confidence in who I was as a person. So I'm grateful that he's been with me through that entire process, and I've been able to be vulnerable with him. Like Gurpriya was saying, being vulnerable can be super helpful, not being alone in the process. But I mean, I'm still a little mad that he proposed to me when I was not wearing makeup and all my acne was out, and those were the pictures that I got. But you know, it kind of forces you to be confident in who you are and the skin that you're in. And I think that's probably the most important thing that I've learned. I think so often we compare ourselves to what is out there on media and these famous people that post that we follow, and you like all their pictures, and they have this perfect skin and perfect teeth and everything's perfect. And we often forget or ignore that a lot of times they're using editing, or they are getting a lot of fillers or injections, or they can afford thousands of dollars worth of facials to treat these skincare concerns that they have, and we don't really always have that luxury to do so. I think that there is a pivotal shift that's starting to happen in the media today, where we are going to start seeing more and more real skin, real people, real bodies. And I think that it is so important to remember that pores are beautiful. Wrinkles are beautiful. Scars are beautiful. They tell a story. They, show the life that you've lived and the experiences that you've been through. They are a display of life, and life is beautiful. And so often we think that we need to hide these things because we need a flawless complexion in order to be deemed beautiful. But the only person that can determine your worth is yourself. And oftentimes we give so much power and energy to people who don't mean anything to us, or people who don't really care about us. And I think that's something that we really need to work on, as individuals. I know that's something that I had to work on over these past few months. And that's the only reason that I'm as confident as I am today, is because I realized that only I can determine what I am worthy of and what I'm capable of. And I don't have to give that power to anybody else.
I definitely wholeheartedly agree with you on that. And I do feel like with all of you guys' stories, myself included, it is the one thing, like the comment is kind of just accepting it and being like, listen, I have a zit. There's really nothing I can do about it. You can either love me or hate me, but like my face is still going to have zits. Like it is what it is. With that being said, let's move on to topicals, creams, and all of that. And we're going to start with you, Gurpriya, because you obviously have all of the advice. So what are your top tips for dealing with acne without medicine, but like creams, facials, like treatments? What do you recommend people that are starting to see cystic acne or normal acne try and do?
There are so many types of acne. So when you read things about acne, there is just so many. So I try and group the types of acne as inflamed and non-inflamed. So if the acne is very pustular, cystic, kind of papules, lumps and bumps, painful, sore, that's more kind of inflamed acne. So I would go towards more kind of medical grade topicals. If it's more blackheads, whiteheads, just, like that little bit of kind of texture, oiliness, that's a non-inflamed type of acne. So my recommendations would be different. But the first thing wouldn't actually be to have a facial done, if I'm really honest. When somebody comes to me with acne, the first thing I would do is talk about lifestyle, all the things we spoke about, and that's when I would get into their skincare routine. I would like to know what kind of environment they work in, how much time they have on their hands to invest into the skincare routine, because it's got to be right for you. You've got to have enough time to do it and enjoy doing the routine as well. So I would just ask all of those questions, and then I would go into sort of more cleansers, serums, moisturizers, SPFs, and I like quite a phased approach where if they come to me kind of on week 1, it would be doing their base products. So meaning cleansing, moisturizing, and how they protect their skin. And then week 2, we would add in kind of your serums and exfoliators. And then week 3, we would add in kind of your topical treatments. So what we've done there is we've built up the skin health slowly but surely and in a very controlled way. So you're not going to, all of a sudden, your skin's not going to think, wow, you've just put so much products onto my skin. And that's how we talked about earlier, that sort of response, that inflammatory response. We don't want that to happen to anybody. So it would be a phased approach. That would be my recommendation. So you do your basic products. Ingredients wise, salicylic acid, we've probably all heard of that one. That one's great for controlling oil. There's glycolic acid, which is something that helps to exfoliate. So AHAs, BHAs, but there are so many out there. So it's just getting it right for your type of acne. There's mandelic acid, lactic acid. So it is just a case of really assessing that person and seeing what's right for them. One that I'm not that keen on is sometimes the GP can give ones that are overly drying, such as the benzoyl peroxides. And I find that they just kind of just tell you to just pop it all over the affected area. But if you've not got a good skincare routine, you may end up making your skin really sore and really dry. So just make sure you're double cleansing with something gently every single day. Enzymes are great as well, as they help to break down kind of any dead skin cells so that all your moisturizers can really penetrate into the skin. And SPF, definitely every single day. So not just against kind of UVA, UVB, but things like, sitting in artificial light, pollutants that are around, blue light from your phones, your laptops. So really important that you've got a blue light protector as well in your SPF. So there's quite a lot that you can do, but yeah, very individual approach.
Great tips. Have you guys used niacinamide? What do you guys think of that? What's your take on it, Gurpriya and Nicole, since you both nodded yes?
Yeah, it's really calming for the skin. So vitamin B3, it's calming, it's soothing. It's great for somebody who is having that kind of inflammatory response on the skin, or say you've had a facial and you have had a bit of inflammation afterwards. It's a great product to put onto the skin. If you get it in a serum form, it has a smaller kind of molecule, so it penetrates deeper into the skin. So you're going to get a bit more of the benefits of it going into the skin. But yeah, I like niacinamide, definitely.
Okay, what's your take on it, Nicole?
I use it in a serum that includes hyaluronic acid, so it's super moisturizing and super calming. I personally love it. I use it in my day-to-day routine every night.
Same for me. I have a question for you, Diane. So
yes.
Since you don't have that many acne situations, and you just have the little here and there, how do you go about choosing a beauty routine or actually finding information on what products to buy? Because I feel like a lot of people will be able to relate. We've talked about super drastic, we've talked about the expert side, but from the kind of everyday consumer, how do you actually go about choosing those things, and what do you look for when deciding?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I hope I speak to a lot of people, because I really am that girl who's just like, I guess I'll get this facial cleanser. I don't know. Even actually, it's funny, when I got my facial, she said, "Are you using a daily cleanser?" And I was like, "I don't think so." And she was like, you definitely are. I didn't even know it was called a cleanser. But anyway, so I go to Lifetime Gym, and they have a really, really great selection of face care products. So I do use Eminence on the facial lotion, and I am open to any kind of suggestions on this, because I'm guessing. But it has like a probiotic serum in it, and I really like that one. It feels good on my face. So, I do go for like a foam cleanser in the morning, and, if I'm wearing my mask, or if I've, had a very sweaty day, I'll also cleanse at night. So yeah, I'm really just kind of like guessing, and I do switch my cleanser each morning. So I do a foam one, and then the next day I'll do more of like a liquid serum. I think it's called Hexam. I'm the worst. I don't even know. This is funny too. I used to use, I'm sure you guys know what it is. It's like that pink grapefruit Neutrogena facial cleanser. I was using that on my body, on my face every day for like 3 years. So I've learned a lot since then, but I still have a long way to go.
Okay, that's not that bad though. It's fine. Everybody starts their journey somewhere. They, different types of things. So as an expert, Gurpriya, what would you recommend to people that are sort of on that side of the spectrum? What things you should be paying attention to if you're like not here, not there, you're not like having super bad acne, but like you're not an expert in it, like, or Nicole that has had so many different experiences with different products. Like, what would you actually recommend people focus on if they're just like on that point of, I don't know what to use, like I don't know where to start, what should I do?
The best way to pick a skincare routine or change something in your routine is if you look at your skin kind of with the changes that it's going with. So does it feel more oily? Does it feel a bit drier? Do you get like a tight feeling after you've cleansed, before you've moisturized? How does it feel throughout the day? Do you tend to get a little bit oily? And also, which textures do you enjoy using? Because if you like what you're using and you like a foam cleanser or you like a cream cleanser, you're more likely to wake up in the morning or before bed, go and do your cleansing routine. So really have fun with it, enjoy the products that you're using. But if you're selecting something that, say, for a drier skin, for example, you might want to go kind of more milk-based cleansers. They're lovely and they feel so luxurious on the skin, and they glide over, so you can give the skin a real good massage and do some lymphatic drainage just to alleviate any toxins that are sort of lying stagnant. If you're somebody who likes that squeaky clean feeling, go for a foam cleanser, but just make sure that it's free of sulfates, that it's not stripping, it's not drying. I mean, nowadays everything is pH balanced, but years and years ago, toners were bought out just to pH balance the skin after using a cleanser because they were drying and stripping. But most cleansers now are pH balanced, so you shouldn't feel over dry. But my top tip would be to look at your skin seasonally. So with the season change, how is your skin feeling? Almost judge it with fresh eyes, as odd as that sounds. I do it for myself as well, because I don't know about you guys, but when you've had acne or a skin condition, in your head, you're always an acne sufferer. It's like you naturally go down an aisle and you will look at acne products, or you'll go to an esthetician and you'll be like, oh, I need a facial for acne. But actually, when they look at you, they might think, no, you just have like one pimple and you've got fairly healthy skin. So it's just, what are your goals? How does your skin feel right now? And ask yourself those questions and pick your products on that. So I did it for myself kind of 2 weeks ago. I had to kind of admit to myself, this is the best my skin's been in a very long time. I have the odd pimples, so I no longer need an over the whole face spot treatment. I just need like a spot kind of zapper that I just put here and there. I switched myself from a foamy wash to a gel wash because it's so hot outside. I wanted something calming and soothing on the skin. SPF, I switched from kind of a more hydrating, dewy one to a gel oil-free one. So it's just judging what your skin needs in that moment. And remember, the cell turnover is every 28 to 30 days, or it's a bit more when we get older. So don't judge your skin when you start a new skincare routine too soon. Give it at least a month, 2 months to see how it sets for you before you make any judgment if you like it. So you're not sort of swapping and changing day to day too much. And what you said there, Diane, about you use a different cleanser kind of on each day. That's fine. If you're going between 2 cleansers, you can. What else you could do is you could always double cleanse with it. So you could use one of the cleansers first, just to kind of break down any oils on the skin, rinse that off, and then you could use your second cleanser. So you're kind of just getting deeper into the pores. So double cleansing is a really nice way to make the skin feel nice and fresh.
Nicole, I have a question for you before we go into a couple of the questions that we got for all of you. What has been the one thing that you've learned that's been the most important throughout your journey? Like documenting it, having the whole experience, like what's the one thing that you're like, this changed my life?
Well, that's a very tough question because I feel like I could say that about everything. Wow. This is tough. Because it's like treating your skin is such a holistic, you really need such a holistic approach. And maybe that is the most important thing that I've learned is being intentional about looking at every single aspect of my lifestyle to really identify if I'm doing things that are good for my skin or things that are bad, like even what type of alcohol I might choose to drink, which of course I'm not right now because of Accutane, but down to how much sugar is in that alcohol. Is that okay for my skin? I don't know. We should try it out. Let's see. Looking at every single thing. And I think the other most important thing is learning that it's okay to be a little bit of a skincare snob. Meaning it's okay to be very specific about what products you choose to use on your skin. And it's okay to be that way. I go through every single product before I use it on my face, and I look at every single ingredient and check to see if it has pore cloggers or not. And that's how I determine if I'm going to use it or not. And it's okay to be that way. It's okay to decide, I'm not going to use that product, even though so-and-so advertised it, because I'm not okay with the ingredients. And I think that's the other important thing that I've started to do.
Okay, that's a great approach to it. I love that. And definitely you're right. Gurpriya, you said that as well. Diane, you said that as well. Like all of you guys have been saying that it's mostly you know, you have to look at it from an entire situation and not just, oh, it's on my skin. Like, is it because you're eating something? Is it because you're feeling shitty about yourself? Is it because you're sad? Like, is it something else, or is it actually just on the surface? So I think that's a great reminder for anyone who is watching and who will be listening, because this will actually surprise be on the podcast. I have a couple of questions. So I did do a little poll on Instagram, and one of the questions that kept coming up the most, and I think you, Nicole, and Gurpriya can both attest to that or give me an answer for our listeners, is how do you deal with acne scars or hormonal acne scars? Is there something you can do about it, or you're screwed for the rest of your life?
If you're someone who is having ongoing hormonal acne, it's a little bit more tricky to deal with the scarring, because it's a constant cycle of active acne leaving scarring. And once that follicle is slightly damaged, you'll notice you keep getting a spot in the same area again and again, and it becomes a little bit harder to treat it. And the longer we suffer with hormonal acne, naturally the more scarring there is, and it's a little bit deeper into the skin. Back around it with my clients is I will see if the acne is still active, and I will try and treat that first. So like we said, there's no cure, but if we can get it down to a point where that person says to me, okay, I don't get acne every day, I just get it occasionally now, that's a good way to know that it's just a type of acne that's almost starting to heal and is ready for acne scarring treatment. And then we need to know, is it just discoloration type of acne? Is it just the tone of the skin they want to treat? Or do they have pitted scarring, box scarring, scars that kind of indent into the skin? So if you're someone who's just had lots of blackheads and whiteheads over a long period of time, you might have something called ice pick scarring. And that's like tiny little scars that look like big pores, but they're actually ice pick scars. Or you might have rolling scars that kind of really dent into the skin. So for the discoloration, I would go down the route of products and skin peels, because they help to kind of speed up the cell turnover and the response on the skin, and also to help your products to penetrate into the skin. And if it's the other type of scarring, which rolls into the skin and gives you that kind of texture problem, I would go down the route of microneedling. So there's lots and lots of ways that you can treat discoloration and scarring once the acne is under control. So always treat the acne first. And to treat the scarring, I would visit a dermatologist or an esthetician, because the kind of treatments they'll need to do will need to be not just at that epidermal layer, but it will be in the dermis layer of the skin.
Okay. And Nicole, you've obviously gotten advice from dermatologists throughout this whole process, you know, of when you had it really bad and now that it's healing. What have you tried something? And if not, what has been the number one advice you've gotten that you're excited to try?
In regards to scarring specifically?
Yeah.
Well, I have been doing some things now to treat the hyperpigmentation specifically, and that would be products that have vitamin C in them. Like I strictly use 2 brands for skincare. One is Clear Stem Skincare and the other is Vanish. Both are free of pore clogging ingredients, and Vanish is vegan, all natural skincare products, and they have a vitamin C cream that is great for a lot of the other side effects I've been experiencing with Accutane as well, like eczema. It's also great for people with psoriasis, but it's extremely hydrating. It has aloe in it. It has a bunch of wonderful ingredients, and that I've been using as a moisturizer to treat the hyperpigmentation. And sometimes at night I'll use their oil, which is called the Banish oil, which is a vitamin C oil as well. But once I'm done with Accutane, I'm definitely going to look to microneedling as a form of treatment for the more deeper texturized scars. I can't do that right now because my skin is so sensitive, and you really shouldn't be doing anything, even waxing. You know, you can't do that right now while on Accutane, but that's something that I'm excited to try when I'm done, is that microneedling. I only have a few specifically along the temples, because that skin definitely scars a bit easier, but I'm excited to treat that with the microneedling.
Okay, well, that has been fabulous. I want to play a little game with you guys before we end this fabulous podcast, vodcast. I don't even know what you can call it because it's so many things at the same time. But let's play a little let's play a little game. First question for all of you. What is your current favorite product, beauty-wise? It can be makeup, it can be cleanser, whatever it is. Go. Okay, Gurpriya, you're up.
Oh my gosh, that is honestly such a hard question. I'm literally sitting next to my product cabinet right now, and I've got like so many favorites in there. Okay, I love DMK AccuCleanse because when I've used it, my skin feels so clean. It foams up. I can really massage it in. It doesn't strip my skin. It's got a little bit of salicylic acid in there, but funnily enough, it feels so moisturized afterwards as well, and you don't get that horrible tight feeling like you're needing that moisturizer put onto the skin straight away. So yeah, DMK AccuCleanse if I had to say one.
Diane, you're up.
Okay, so I actually do have some products I can remember, but I'm gonna pick a makeup that I use, and it's Young Living's the essential oil. It's their brand of foundation and blush. It's really light and powdery, so I'll even mix the powder foundation with my Eminence cream to make a BB cream. So I'm like so proud of myself for knowing this stuff. But yeah, I would recommend their makeup line.
Okay, Nicole, favorite?
Mine would probably be right now the Blemish Vitamin C Beauty Elixir. It's like a great any time of the day spray. Like I'll use it as a toner, I'll use it as a primer, I'll use it as a setting spray, I'll use it as like I just took my mask off and I need a spritz kind of spray, and it has like aloe, vitamin C, all of these fantastic nutrients in it. I have it right here. I use it all day, like just incessantly, just spritzing my skin, and it smells so good.
Love that. Okay, natural makeup or over the top? And now we're going to go the other way around. So Nicole, what do you prefer?
Over the top. I love over the top eyeshadow. I like a natural look for the face, but then I like very exaggerated eyes. I love to do like crazy eyeshadow colors, and like I haven't done it in a long time, but I love that kind of makeup.
Great idea. I love that. I love makeup as well. So that's why I probably started following you too. Diane, favorite.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry. What was the question?
Over the top or
yes,
natural.
over the top or natural. Sorry, I started thinking about makeup. So,
and I didn't even know how to answer this until Nicole did. I was like, "What's over the top? Is this something I don't know?" But now I get it. Yeah, I'm definitely more of a natural makeup person, but I think it's really just my lack of knowledge. I think if I knew how, and my best friend Candace is probably watching, and she loves like sending me YouTube videos. She really knows how to use her makeup. So as soon as I know more, I want to get the bold eyes and all that.
It's not that hard. I'm sure you can find some tips. You can start easy. You can start with a little bit and then start topping it up and just have fun with it.
Yeah.
Gurpriya, natural or over the top makeup?
I'd have to say natural, only because I used to work on makeup counters when I was younger. So I feel like I've fulfilled myself by wearing, all the different kind of makeup, all the freebies that you get. So I would say natural, especially with what I do as well, wearing a mask and things all day. I love looking at my sister's makeup when she does all like the contour and the eyebrows, but I'm just no good at it. I'm good at skin, but just not good at makeup. So yeah, natural.
You can't be good at both. I mean, you can, but you probably would want to be best at, what it is that you do. So that's perfectly fine. Now on to the fun questions that are not related to the topic. What is your favorite cocktail, if you have one, or alcohol? Gurpriya.
Long Island, definitely.
Ooh, a strong alcohol.
Yes.
Love that.
Love it, yeah.
Diane?
Yeah, red wine for me. Any kind of red wine.
Fancy. Okay. Nicole?
Anything with tequila in it.
Yes, you're my girl. Love something with tequila. Okay, favorite movie? Nicole?
I'm more of a TV show girl. I like Gilmore Girls.
Yes, love that show. Great choice, Diane.
Yeah, that's a great show. Oh boy, I'm such a nerd. I'll have to say like Return of the King or Two Towers.
Wait, which one are those?
The Lord of the Rings movies.
Ah,
yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I've never seen one. This is.
I take mine back. I say Pirates of the Caribbean and the entire franchise.
Good choice. Gurpriya, favorite movie or saga?
Bridget Jones. Have you heard of it?
Oh, yes. The original one or the new one?
I love the original one. It's the bit where he loves her just as she is. So I always quote that to my husband, actually.
Oh, I love that. Okay, last one. If you could travel anywhere in the world, minus COVID, where would you go? Gurpriya.
Oh, that's a really tough one. Can it be somewhere I've already been?
Yeah, your choice.
I would say Paphos. So my dad's got a villa there, and I went for the first time a couple of years ago, and I've been sort of there 2 years running now. And we did the whole just self-catering and that villa life, and I absolutely loved it. And although it's his retirement place, and I'm nowhere near that retirement age, I so want that life that he's got there. So yeah, hands down, I'm going to say there.
Okay, that's a good choice. I love a villa life as well. Not sure I could do that for long, but a week here and there, maybe a month, and then that's good.
Yeah,
Diane.
I said that. If I could do 2 weeks and travel back again and do 2 weeks, that'd be great.
Exactly. Great choice. Great minds think alike. Diane, your choice.
Yeah, I've really been wanting to go to Budapest for a long time. So that's the next one on my list.
Amazing. I'll hit you up with all the tips. I used to live there for a while, so.
Please do.
Nicole.
I haven't really traveled much out of the USA up until maybe 2 years ago, and I've only ever been out of the country twice. So there's so much I want to see. I just want to travel all of Europe. I've been to Quebec and I've been to Mexico, and that's it. I'd love to travel to Europe. I've never been there ever.
Well, when you come hit me up, I'm probably going to still be here, and I can give you a tour around Paris if you want.
All right, I'm on my way right now.
Goes for all three of you, by the way. If you're ever in the city, please hit me up. I'll more than love to go have a drink with you. Not going to do a Long Island, not going to do a wine. I'll definitely do a tequila, but we can sort something out here. So it'll be fine. So I don't want to take any more of your time. It's already been an hour. Can you believe it? It's crazy, right? I've really enjoyed all of the topics. Gurpriya, such an expert, so many good advice, tips, and just things that we can implement. Diane, also great experience. And girl, your skin looks great. Stop worrying about the little zits you have on your lid.
Thanks.
I can see them. And Nicole, I've been following you for a while. Love everything you've been posting. It's just, I'm in awe that you're just this is my face. Who cares? And I'm beautiful anyway. So you guys should feel beautiful as well. So I hope you've enjoyed, the experience of being on this first ever live stream episode.
Yeah,
definitely.
This is awesome.
It's been great.
Thank you so much for being here. And, everyone that's listening, I am going to take a little break for podcasting just for August. Don't worry, I'm going to come back in September. I need a little vacation, even if I'm still working behind the scenes. But I hope you enjoyed this season. And before we go, I actually wanted to announce a little contest giveaway that's going to be happening for the next 2 weeks. So the lovely people of Grace and Stella, which is an amazing brand, recommend you guys check it out. They have agreed to give one lucky winner my favorite mud mask from Dead Sea Minerals and all of that. So if you go check the podcast Instagram, so at Pretty Sure Podcast, you'll find a little post with all of the instructions, and one of you lucky winners in the States will be able to take that mud mask home. So thank you again, girls, for showing up and for bringing all of your best selves and great tips and just your amazing personality.
Thank
you so much.
Yeah.
And everyone, as usual, peace out, and I'll see you next time. And then, bye, guys.